Let me tell you something right now. Some of you are losing battles that God already gave you victory over, not because the enemy is stronger, but because you keep telling your business to people who were never meant to hear it. See, sometimes silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. The reason your dream feels delayed because you don't have faith, it's because you've been speaking it in the wrong rooms. You're pouring vision into people who can't even handle your level of belief. You're looking for validation from those who can't even see their own worth, let alone yours. Stop announcing what hasn't been built yet. Stop giving updates to people who don't clap unless it's for themselves. Protect your plans, protect your peace, protect your process, because not everyone in your circle is rooting for you. Some are just waiting to see if you'll fail. Today, I came to tell you silence can be your greatest strategy. The next chapter of your life doesn't need to be spoken. It needs to be written in action, not words. Vision needs privacy because not everything sacred should be shared. When something is still forming, it's fragile. And when you speak too soon, you expose it to voices that can weaken its foundation. Every dream, every idea, every plan has a season of silence, a period where it must grow unseen. Just like a seed buried in the ground, your vision doesn't need applause or attention. It needs time, pressure, and faith. You can't plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow just to show people progress. Growth doesn't happen under inspection. It happens in secret. Many people lose their power because they keep seeking validation before manifestation. They talk so much about what they're going to do that the energy that should be spent building is wasted explaining. There's a reason even great inventions, great moves, and great transformations happen behind closed doors. Privacy is not hiding. Privacy is protecting. It's the fence that keeps distractions out and focus in. When your vision is still tender, it can't survive criticism or comparison. Some will misunderstand it, some will mock it, and some will try to copy it before you even complete it. There are moments when silence becomes your shield. When you stop explaining yourself, you gain the strength to execute. Your results will always make a louder statement than your intentions ever could. Let your work speak for you, your progress, because people will doubt what you say, but they can't deny what they see. That's why the greatest moves are made quietly. When God gives you an idea, He expects you to guard it. He doesn't need you to announce it to the world. He needs you to nurture it. The most powerful transformations happen in private. When no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you and your conviction. The world doesn't need to know what you're doing. They'll see it when it's done. So learn to move in silence, plan in private, and show up in power. Because when your vision finally comes to light, it won't need an introduction. Its impact will speak for itself. Not everyone is ready for your revelation because not everyone has the capacity to understand what you carry. Some people can only see life through the limits of their own experience. And when you share something beyond their understanding, they shrink it down to fit their perspective. They don't mean harm, but they can't see what you see. When you start talking about where you're going, you'll realize quickly that some minds are too small to hold your vision. And that's why you must learn to discern who deserves access to your ideas and who does not. Every revelation comes with a responsibility to protect it until it's time to be revealed. There are seasons where you must walk alone, not because people are against you, but because they're not built for what you're building. Some people are meant to walk beside you only for a chapter, not the whole book. If you try to carry everyone into your next level, you'll lose the strength meant for your mission. You can't expect people who are still stuck in their past to understand the language of your future. When you start to speak vision, you invite opinions. When you start to share purpose, you attract resistance. That's why silence is not a sign of fear. It's a form of focus. The more you reveal, the more room you give for misunderstanding and doubt. Sometimes it's better to stay quiet until the fruit of your effort is visible. The revelation will make sense once the results are in front of them. Until then, keep it sacred. There's a time to speak and a time to stay silent, knowing the difference is wisdom. If Joseph had kept his dream to himself, he might have avoided betrayal. Sometimes what you reveal too early invites jealousy that wasn't even meant for you. Guard your revelation until it matures. Let it grow strong enough to stand against criticism before you bring it to light. Not everyone who smiles at you is rooting for you. Some are curious, not supportive. Some want information, not inspiration. So be careful who you confide in. Protect what's still being shaped, because not everyone is ready to see what God is preparing through you. Words create resistance because every time you speak about your plans, you invite energy that doesn't always align with your purpose. The moment you reveal what you're working on, it stirs opinions, expectations, and sometimes even envy. What should stay simple becomes heavy because now, instead of focusing on doing the work, you're busy explaining the work. The more you talk, the more resistance you build. Some resistance comes from people, but much of it comes from within. When you speak before you act, you trick your mind into believing progress has already been made. You feel satisfied by the sound of your own ambition, but nothing has moved forward. There's power in words, and that power cuts both ways. When spoken with purpose, words can build faith. But when spoken carelessly, they can drain momentum. Every goal has its rhythm. When you keep announcing your plans, you interrupt that rhythm with unnecessary noise. You open the door for distractions to walk in and for doubt to sit at your table. Silence, on the other hand, keeps your energy contained. It keeps your spirit focused and your intentions sharp. You don't owe anyone an explanation for every step you take. You don't need to prove you're doing something meaningful by talking about it. The proof will come when the work is finished. Too often, people lose passion not because they're incapable, but because they've shared too much and received too little encouragement in return. Every time you share your dream with the wrong audience, their disbelief chips away at your confidence. It's better to let your actions speak. Every move doesn't need a caption. Every idea doesn't need a conversation. Some things gain power only when they're kept quiet long enough to form strength. Talking releases energy, silence preserves it. When you learn to contain that energy, you move with clarity and peace. Resistance has no space to grow when there's nothing to react to. So instead of telling people what you're planning, show them what you've accomplished. Let your work be the loudest word you speak. Because once you master the art of quiet execution, resistance fades and results begin to echo louder than anything you could have ever said. Silence builds power because it creates space for clarity. When you stop talking and start listening, you begin to hear the deeper guidance that noise often hides. In silence, you find focus. You find strength. You reconnect with the part of yourself that knows exactly what needs to be done. Talking too much about your plans can scatter your energy, but silence gathers it. It allows your thoughts to settle and your intentions to sharpen. Every strong leader, every wise builder, every visionary learns to honor the quiet moments where plans are formed, refined, and strengthened. Power doesn't always come from movement or noise. Sometimes it comes from stillness. The quiet season of your life is not a pause. It's preparation. When you're silent, you're not doing nothing. You're recharging, observing, and growing roots. Just like a tree gathers strength underground before breaking through the soil, your power grows in the unseen places. The silence between your steps is where wisdom matures and confidence forms. When you choose silence, you take control of your energy. You stop reacting to every voice around you and start responding only to what truly matters. It's in those moments of quiet reflection that you begin to recognize which battles are worth fighting and which aren't. Silence teaches restraint. It builds patience. It trains you to move with intention instead of impulse. The one who knows when to speak and when to stay quiet holds a strength that others can't understand. People often mistake silence for weakness, but those who practice it know it's a sign of discipline. Silence keeps you unpredictable. It keeps your spirit grounded. It shields your purpose from unnecessary interference. When you talk less, you listen more, and listening gives you insight that words can't. That insight becomes strategy, and strategy becomes power. The next time you're tempted to explain yourself or prove your progress, remember that silence is not empty. It's full of potential. Every word you withhold becomes fuel for your next move. Every quiet decision becomes a seed for future success. Stay silent long enough for your actions to gather strength, and when you finally speak through results, your voice will carry more weight than any explanation ever could. Discern who deserves access, because not everyone who's close to you is meant to be connected to your purpose. Some people come into your life as lessons, not lifelong partners in growth. When you're building something meaningful, You have to be selective about who gets to see behind the scenes. Access is not love, it's responsibility. The more people you let into your circle, the more open you are to distraction, judgment, and confusion. Your peace, your vision, your time, these are sacred resources, and not everyone can handle them with care. There are people who celebrate you publicly but doubt you privately. There are those who appear supportive but are only around to keep track of your progress. That's why discernment is vital. You have to learn who's genuinely walking with you and who's just walking beside you until something better comes along. Energy doesn't lie. Pay attention to how people respond when you succeed, when you fail, and when you grow. Real ones clap even when it's not their turn. The others get quiet when your blessings start multiplying. Guard your access the way a gatekeeper guards a fortress. You don't let just anyone walk into a sacred space, and your life is no different. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about being wise. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They keep the wrong energy out and allow the right support in. If someone constantly drains you, questions your vision, or tries to shrink your dreams to fit their comfort, that's not a supporter, that's a signal to step back. Surround yourself with people who understand your silence, not just your stories. People who push you toward progress without needing constant explanation. The right circle will feed your purpose, not your fears. They'll challenge you to grow, not gossip about your growth. Protect your inner space so you can keep your mind clear and your spirit strong. Because when your access is guarded, your energy stays pure. And when your energy is pure, your vision moves faster and smoother. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. Some are better off watching from a distance while you continue to build quietly and powerfully. Let your results speak, because nothing silences doubt like evidence. You don't have to argue, defend, or prove yourself when the fruit of your effort is standing right in front of them. Results carry a voice that can't be denied. When you move with consistency and discipline, your work begins to testify for you. People may have questioned your choices, doubted your vision, or even mocked your silence. But when the results show up, they shift the conversation. Success doesn't need a speech, it needs action. Talking about what you're going to do might feel satisfying in the moment, but showing what you've done leaves a lasting impact. When you stop chasing approval and start chasing progress, everything changes. You begin to operate from purpose, not pressure. The world is full of noise. Everyone's talking, promising, predicting, but few are actually producing. When you stay focused on the process, when you give your energy to execution instead of explanation, your results will speak a language that no critic can interrupt. People remember outcomes, not opinions. They may forget what you said, but they'll never forget what you built. Every time you choose action over talk, you're building credibility. Every time you stay committed in silence, you're strengthening your foundation. Let others discuss debate and doubt. Your only job is to deliver. Because once your work begins to speak, the same people who ignored your efforts will want to understand your formula. That's the power of results. Let your achievements announce what your words once hoped for. Move in quiet confidence, not because you're hiding, but because you're preparing. Growth doesn't need an audience, it needs consistency. The applause will come in its own time, but the satisfaction of seeing your vision come alive is the real reward. When your results speak, you don't have to. Your discipline becomes your voice. Your persistence becomes your proof. Your outcome becomes your response. Keep moving, keep building, keep believing. Because when the time is right, the very things you worked on in silence will echo louder than any introduction. Let your results tell your story, and let that story be louder than every word you ever spoke. So as you walk out of here today, remember this. Your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Your privacy is not secrecy, it's protection. You don't owe the world a play-by-play of what you're building. Some of the greatest victories will happen when no one's watching. That's where your power is formed. In the quiet grind, the unseen prayers, the private battles that shape your public strength. You don't need to announce every chapter. Just keep writing the story. Let the pages turn in silence and let the ending speak for itself. The right people will notice, the right doors will open, and the right moments will reveal what you've been working on all along. Every season of silence is building something in you. It's refining your focus, testing your discipline, and proving your faith. Don't rush to be seen. Grow until you can't be ignored. Let your consistency make the noise. Let your results do the talking. Let your transformation be the testimony. Because when it's your time, you won't have to convince anyone. They'll seal it. They'll feel it. They'll know that while they were watching, you were working. While they were talking, you were transforming. And when that moment comes, stand tall, stay humble, and keep your eyes forward, because the loudest sound in your life will no longer be your words, it'll be your success speaking for you.